my God, I'm excited. Are you?
I'm thrilled. I'm so excited.
Is this your first time doing something like this?
Yes.
Nerves, I suppose.
I'm excited though. I'm so excited. I mean,
Uh,
we go
I'm
way back, but this is new for both of us together.
I'm really excited about the topic that we have picked, or you
Yes.
have picked rather. I think
Yes.
it's really interesting. Synchronicity, if we are
Mm-hmm.
supposed to tell everybody that this is the topic for the day, for the first episode. And I don't know if a lot of people know about synchronicities, but I would love for Sakshi to shed some light upon the subject.
Oh my gosh. I think when I think of synchronicity, I think of like it being I'm borrowing words from a lot of content that I've obviously read over time and like consumed. But for me, it's like the organizing principle of reality. So you see something in your environment, in your reality, which is kind of poking you again and again and again. Whether it's like a book recommendation, like thrice in a week, or it's something like you seeing the same number in different forms again and again and again. And you can speak more to like your personal experiences of this, but it's like license plates, bills sometimes. I once had a bill which was like 4444 rupees.
So cool.
Yeah, which was kind of insane. But different like modes of communication, and it's all energy. So you're just seeing the same kind of number, the same topic, the same book, the same song on the radio, and it's trying to say something to you. It's trying to like nudge you towards an action. But once you take that action, then you move on to the next synchronicity, and the next, and the next. And so every synchronicity, I feel like, is a nudge to take action in a specific direction. And and so when you follow each synchronicity and you take the action, it organizes your life in a way that it builds a bridge of incidents for you to your like goal or wherever you want to go. So that's what I think it is.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's so
Thank you.
cool. I should
What's
have
your
played
experience then?
I should have played the drum roll at the beginning of your entire
True, yeah.
monologue, but it's okay. In betweens are great. So for me, what I do take back from what you said is that synchronicities lead you or nudge you towards an action.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is something that I never thought of till date,
Oh,
like this way, which is
yeah.
really cool because it opens up my eyes to like a new perspective or a new way of looking at it. Although I have always worked that way, but I
Mm.
have done that very unconsciously. I've never been
Yes.
aware that actually it's leading me to take some action or I'm taking action according to it. Synchronicity showed up in my life probably when I started seeing angel numbers,
Mm-hmm.
like 1111, 222, 444, like you mentioned. Um, Sometimes music as well,
Mm-hmm.
like repetitive songs. But for me, synchronicities have also the ones that have opened me up to my spiritual path, I must
Yes.
say, because, and they showed up for me when I was at my lowest. So they were also something that I held on to. And then
Mm-hmm.
I was told by this ascended master, um, who teaches at this university. He said that just follow the synchronicities. So
Mm.
I always used to follow them, but very unconsciously act upon them. But now this
Mm.
is interesting. What I just heard
No,
from
but I
you.
think that's what you're supposed to do. I don't think you're supposed to be super conscious of them because then that starts kind of interfering with the natural course of action. Because then you start overthinking things. And you're like, oh, but is this the right synchronicity or is that the right synchronicity? And then you're just like, it's all messy. I think you're supposed to do it in a flow state. I think it's just supposed to happen. I think it comes naturally to us, actually.
Hmm. Because for me, there was a time when I used to think I'm going crazy. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the friend of mine who introduced me to these numbers, like she just told me randomly, she said I see repetitive numbers, do you find that crazy? Because I think she had that radar of catching crazy, okay, like
Yeah.
that's why
She
she
was
felt.
looking for crazy
Ha.
already. Like the lens was like, it was kind of a biased lens, I feel like. But if you don't
Yeah.
even think about it, nothing is like inherently, everything's neutral inherently, right? We make meaning out of things, right?
Oh
So
my god, truth bomb.
synchronicity also in that sense could be, at some subconscious level, you're making meaning out of it. Now, if you think about it, like maybe many people are driving every day and you might be the only one who notices the car with 4444. You know what I mean? So, like, even though you're coexisting in the same space and time, if something's meant to catch your eye, it's gonna catch your eye and not like your neighbor's or someone else's eye.
Hmm. What I was trying to say was also add another tangent to it with, like, catching energies or vibrations or frequencies. Like for that friend of mine, she had that radar to catch
Mm-hmm.
my crazy and match it to her crazy, and then just say that, I've never told this to anybody, but I see repetitive numbers. Like this happens with me. Do you find this weird? Because she was seeking maybe some sort of validation or,
Mm-hmm.
some sort of companionship. Maybe I don't know, like what she was seeking, but she told me. And then I think at that point of time, no matter that I became aware of that something like this happens, I never used to see them, and I used to even tell her, why don't I see them? Like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't happen with me. But I
Yeah.
think then 3 months down the line, when I was struggling in life, is when I started seeing them. And then I read and I told her, now I see, now I see, now I see them. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's how it happened for me. And I think the tangent that makes it even more interesting with the idea of neutrality and giving things meaning is also the idea that sometimes you just catch those vibrations and meet people, right?
Mm-hmm. So are you like trying to strike a balance between like, when you say like it's inherently neutral and we're making the meaning out of it? Are you trying to say that am I crazy? Am I making this up? Since I'm assigning it meaning and I'm assigning like, is that where you're trying to, is that the balance?
I think again there are like two subjects here. So the one
Hmm.
subject that we're talking about is the subject of giving the synchronicity itself some meaning.
Hmm.
Um, the second subject that I'm talking about here is, picking up on your kind of people, like
Hmm.
the kind of people that are already seeing numbers, or
Hmm.
the kind of people are already into like that seeker mode on in some way, and you kind of like pick up on those energies, and they're like, I mean, Anne with an E, the show calls them like kindred spirits. I mean, I call it kindred spirits. So you pick up on these kindred spirits around you, and yeah. So even you finding kindred spirits, like I would say, is got to do something with meaning. The meaning that you give to the frequency or the vibration that you pick up on, because I think otherwise everybody is a kindred spirit. um, if you don't divide it like these people see numbers and I don't, and stuff
Hmm.
like that, because then it again puts people in boxes, right?
Yeah, in my experience, I think it's a little more complex than that. So, what I think happens is that you have layers to it. So, first, you have your own subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind is basically a collection of limiting beliefs and maybe other nice beliefs and just a mixture of how you view yourself. On one level, that is sending out this constant kind of wave, a frequency, if you may. And in a way, that is what's creating your experience of your outer reality. So it's like when you look into a mirror, you always need to smile first, and then the reflection will smile back. So you are your subconscious mind, and your reflection is your reality, your external reality. And then we must maybe touch upon the whole idea of like karmic cycles and past lives and soul contracts and all of these things. So when you combine these two together, right? Past life, energetic agreements, plus current state of your subconscious mind. If you combine them, that together is what kind of dictates who comes into your life when, how long they stay, what lessons they might teach you. Whether you take those lessons or not, by the way, that's free will. If you don't take those lessons, more people will come to teach you the same lesson in different forms. So it's like there's so many, it's so complex and it's so interesting. And this is something that I've kind of concluded through my own readings on like Dr. Brian Weiss, obviously his like reincarnation, I mean, I do not think he discovered it by any means, but he made it popular. So many masters, many lives, messages from the masters, through time into healing. Those are his books. Very, very interesting. You learn a lot. And then you have Dolores Cannon. Have you read her books?
No, I haven't, but I've heard of her name so much.
Yeah. She's been doing it for
Yeah.
a very long time.
Yeah.
She, I think, got sucked into it in a way where she was like, I need to do as many as I can so I can understand what was really happening back in the day. Like it's like she was doing her own research through these sessions.
Yeah.
So all her books are kind of like, scripted just like that, like her sessions, what the client is saying, what she's asking the client. And it's very, very interesting. So yeah, I think back to that topic, what you experience and the people you interface with in your life at different points in time, I think it's all kind of determined by a couple of different processes that are kind of happening or have happened in the background. And then there's another like whole concept of how like maybe time isn't even real. So when you think of time not being linear, the way that we experience it, and that's another school of thought that says that, you are the soul and you are just a part of your full energy, which is maybe the oversoul. And then that energy oversoul distributes itself into like different experiences. And you right
Yeah.
now, as the Nima, are just one of that experience. They're all happening at the same time. But because you're in the 3D reality, you're experiencing it as a past life and a future premonition. So it's like there's a lot to like tap into and like weave through. There's so much information. And you have to kind of read it all and be like, what makes sense to me? What do I I was like a Shantam calling again. But yeah, it depends on like what resonates with you. You can read everything, but you will only keep a fraction of it in your mind and in your belief system. It's, I call it like landing and sticking. When something really lands in your brain, like, oh yeah, this makes perfect sense. That means you're resonating with it in some way, right? So it will vary from person to person what resonates with them, what doesn't. But there's enough information out there for you to like get started and like dive into and all of that.
I think this entire monologue that you just gave of like good 5 minutes, I think 4 minutes, 3 minutes, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes. I think people can get all the sort of like labels or all the like sort of keywords that they can
Terminology.
probably like type on and like read more about, because I think you unloaded the entire
Yeah, I
content
think I
folder
literally,
of your
yeah,
life.
I went off so many tangents. I was just like, but this and that and this.
Like I have to share about this also and that also. But
Yeah.
what blew my mind out of the entire lot of it was the idea that when you said that, subconscious mind and the mirror. So like basically you standing in front of the mirror are like your subconscious mind, like this is me, my subconscious mind. Say for example, the visual came to me like a big fat mojo jojo brain, and then in front of me is like the mirror that's
Yeah.
just reflecting back maybe the aspects of my brain zoomed in. Like it felt like how the camera went inside the mojo jojo's brain and like created like an entire mirror dimension of his brain.
Yeah.
outside. So that's exactly like my reality. And I feel like, oh my God, it resonated with me so much, because I think I've been calling myself Mojo Jojo. Like, there are times on my spiritual journey, like ever since that I've been evolving, there have been times when I get like massive headaches, okay? Like,
Hmm.
I call those times like, probably my pineal gland hurts.
Hmm.
Probably there are times when I get like these headaches where I feel like my brain is expanding.
Hmm.
It pulsates. It feels like my prefrontal cortex is being reorganized or rearranged. Or probably, I don't know, like I'm downloading some information from some Akashic records or something, like some massive, some massive download is coming to me. So
Yeah.
I really honestly like feel like in those times that my brain is like becoming like Mojo Jojo's brain, like it's leveling up,
Yeah.
like in a hierarchical manner.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of crazy, like those days and those times are crazy. And then zooming into it, because once that happens in my life,
Hmm.
crazy unfolds. Like,
Yeah.
reality becomes way more expansive than before. It almost feels like the world wide web for me.
Hmm.
It's literally like my web expands, like my web of consciousness expands. So the
Right.
experiences that I will have from now on forth, being Mojojo version 2 with headache number 2, is probably an expanded experience of reality, unlike I had before. The headache. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think it's a nice empowering like way to look at things is that I am the creator of my experience. And to truly believe that is really difficult because like we've been taught it the other way around. Things happen to us, right? That's what we've been taught and it's like ingrained in our minds. And it's really hard to break out of that. It's something that requires, like in my personal experience, I used to read about it all the time because of my dad's, like, his book collection was actually a lot of Brian V.S. and like stuff like that. So I grew up reading these books. But I think when it really like landed in my mind was when I was in undergrad and I was not having a good time. Like I was very depressed. And it was the first like semester and I was crying like every day. I don't know, was really struggling. And then I just had this like inspired idea that let me get a diary and let me just script every single day. And I'm gonna write down, and I would write these while crying because my life was nothing like this at the time. But I was like, let me just pretend that this is real and it's happening in the present tense. I was like, let me put to practice the things that I've been reading and like, why am I not using these tools? So I started scripting. Every single day I wrote a script about the ideal day in future Sakshi's life. Or like, in present tense. So I wake up, I do this, I go meet my friends, I feel so loved and I have a purpose and stuff like that. And then that semester got over, I went home for break and I came back the next semester and my life was completely different. And I don't know what happened. Like, I still don't know what really happened, but something changed. And I know that it was internally, like, internal initiation caused an external thing. Now, we can all argue that maybe it's like a change in my own perspective, a change in how I was viewing my own situations. Could be. It could also be some external things like people who weren't aligned with my sad self left, and then new people who were aligned with my happy scripting Sakshi version came in. And so, yeah, but I can't deny that sudden drastic shift in my life. And that's when I realized that, oh, there's something to this. People aren't writing books about this for many years for no reason. Neville Goddard's book. And then, what was it? Feeling is the Secret. That's such a good book.
I don't know both these books. I don't know the one more book that you mentioned probably at the beginning. What did you say? I don't remember. I think there's one when you were mentioning about Dolores Cannon. I think that time you mentioned one more book apart from Brian Weiss also, which I don't,
Um,
didn't get. Like, I don't think I've ever heard of it before.
Besides those two, I can't remember.
Yeah,
But
probably when I
I
rewatch
would
it, I'll ask
recommend
you.
everyone to start with Neville Goddard's Feeling is the Secret. It's such a good book. And you have like audiobooks on YouTube too, so you can just listen to it and like, over a few days. And then you also have what was it, RHJ's It Works. The book is called It Works.
Oh yeah,
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 that's the one you asked me about. And it's like the little red book that will change your life. But essentially, it's all the same thing. It's like change your internal state and you will change your reality.
yeah. Can you hear that?
Yep.
Pappu Kumar just came in to deliver something at my house.
Oh, Pygate, I love this app.
You love this.
Yeah, I
Um,
do. Because Rishabh, like, so my brother, he orders so much shit at home. Like, when all the time, junk food, you will keep hearing this notification again and again throughout the day when I'm there. So it's a lot. It's like burned
what
into
was
my.
what now there are two things that are showing up for me, okay? So one thing that's showing up for me is that you know how when you were talking about shifting your reality, which is shifting your probably perspective or shifting your inner state of being. So for me, I started something called the perspective room, right? So for me, the entire idea of starting perspective room was this, that people come together and share their experiences or their perspectives about this one particular topic related to emotional or mental well-being, and that ways probably we can take back something from the other person's experiences, the way that they look at that particular topic. Say for example, overthinking, I look at it differently, you look at it differently, but maybe how you look at it might benefit me, so I might take back into my state of being, and that might change my reality. So that was the entire idea of it. So
Yeah.
for me, yeah, two very weird symbolic things that are right now coming up to me. One is last time when I was at your place, Rishabh ordered shoes. I mean, he bought shoes, okay, and he bought them at like a crazy discount, like
Uh-huh.
crazy, like it was like a steal, like something like an 80% off.
80?
Yeah, like that was
I don't know
that.
how he finds these.
I really don't, I also didn't understand. And he's like, I don't know, I think I just have like the
Even he
radar
didn't
for it.
know. He was
Yeah,
like,
but I feel like, when he was trying those shoes on, and they were like of a really like hot
oh,
pink
I remember
shoes.
these shoes.
Yeah. So for me, they were so striking. They were so striking, and maybe this will connect to something later. And the second thing that's showing up for me, symbolically again, is how sometimes I lose things. Okay, like I can't find things in my own room, and some people say that sometimes these things slip into some other dimension, and I feel like it's not another dimension. I think it's just, and then other times you'd realize, oh, it was right there in front of my eyes the whole time, I couldn't see it,
That's
right?
actually a great metaphor for dimensions actually. Like and frequency dimensions.
Yeah,
You
so
come in and out. Yeah.
yeah, so for me, so again, connecting the two dots, right? The dots of, I mean, that's how my brain, Mojo Jojo brain works now.
Yeah.
I connect the dots. I see dots and I connect them into a line, and then create like my web of consciousness. So
Yeah.
that's how I create my reality. So for me, it's like, say, Rishu buying something at a crazy discounted price, but striking to me. I think what that brings, the feeling in my heart is that um, he, he he is creating a reality where he gets abundantly, like, in a way, like, who would get a steal deal like that? So he's creating a reality where he gets something abundantly, and in a way that it strikes other people also, that they're like, how the hell did you get this, right? Like, I wish my reality would be like that, that I would get steal deals like that, like, so it would inspire me to take an action towards shifting my reality. um and then this thing of the dimensional shift, I think again it's just perspective shift, or a
Yes.
frequency shift, as
Yeah,
you
it's the
said.
same thing. So when I say dimension, energy frequency shift, what I really mean is like perspective shift. I don't
Hmm.
mean you're moving physically to like a place. It's all here. It's all internal. And I'm glad you brought up Rishu because I was like thinking of how to bring him up as well because he's taught me the most about abundance in my family because I used to have this again, subconscious mind is the creator of your reality. Just remember that. You have many loops running in the background that tell you, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve this, money is evil. Like, you have different limiting beliefs like this, which actually are shaping what you experience. Okay? So, in my mind, when I was younger, I had this idea, a limiting belief, that only money is equal to abundance. Okay, because I was maybe I saw that money is really important and like it's really the only transactional thing that can get you things. So I was like, money equals abundance. If I have money, I'm abundant. But then, I went away to college and me and Rishabh grew closer during that time and he would tell me that, Sakshi Di, I'm going on this trip and it's to a friend's house in Jaipur. We're staying there for free. And I was like, cool, nice. And many different experiences he would keep having like these, where his friends are just kind of like, you know, the people in his life, whether they're colleagues or friends or like a friend's friends. So, you just,
That happens a lot with him.
yeah,
The friends of friends thing.
insane. Yeah, now I'm doing this today, now I'm doing that today because I know someone who knows someone. It's amazing. He's getting to experience these amazing things. Now, I was like, interesting. He's not placing any insistence in his mind on what abundance should look like. And that's why he's making space in his reality for all these experiences to come in. Right? Now, in my case, obviously, at the time, it was really hard for me to shift from this to that. But eventually, I've been trying to do that. But he's the one who taught me that. Like, abundance, don't insist in which form something should come to you.
Mm.
If you want to go to France, don't say, I'm manifesting money to go to France. Leave that insistence. You don't know how that opportunity will fall into your lap. It might be they have those like giveaways and whatnot. So it could be a giveaway. It could be like an opportunity where you're traveling for work. It could be so many different things. You can't even fathom, right? Because we're so limited in our thinking, we can't fathom all the different ways this one thing could come into our life. But we still insist that we know best. And then we, do that. So,
Or it comes from a space of desire, I feel like desire of possessing something just the way you want it to be. Like, I think that's a very like prisoner mindset. I mean, maybe not, but in a way, in my head right now, it's coming up to be as a prisoner mindset, where you'd be like, a prisoner would, in the prison, when he's not getting any food, he would think of this one thing that he would want to eat, and then
and
he would
turn
want
away
only
everything
that
else.
and
Yeah,
turn
yeah,
away
yeah.
everything else,
And guess
like,
what? He goes to bed hungry, right? Because
ah.
so that's what happens. And I think, all choices are valid. That's because everything is inherently neutral, so we assign it meaning, right? So every choice is valid. Um, but yeah, when you are very insistent on, I mean, it kind of reminds me of the difference between the word want and the word need. Need and want are very different. And a want is just a need which is kind of covered in some embellishments,
Mm.
extra stuff, extra details. And that's why, when I think of vision boards, I'm always saying that don't make it too specific because you don't want to be insistent. The When you talk about manifestation and stuff, like one part of it is visualizing and believing and being in that positive state, but the other part is to surrender.
Yeah.
That's really important. That's the most important part. Because if you're always thinking about it, you're throwing these darts of thought. into the ether, and it's interfering with the process that's already trying to take place, and you're constantly
Yeah.
interfering with it. But if you just stop thinking about it, it will happen as it's supposed to unfold.
Yeah.
So that's why I say vision boards also, like, don't make it too specific. Focus on the state, focus on the feeling, focus on that.
I also, for me, again, it reminds me of how one that my vision board is right beside me in this very moment, and I'll show it to you. I made it like 2 days back,
Yeah.
and I'll show it to everybody as well. But another thing that showed up for me, as you said, that you keep throwing darts at it, right? So you keep interfering with the process. I think for a lot of people, like say, for example, me, I consider myself as a holistic healer in some way or form and shape, if that's how people would want to look at me. Uh, so you become like a wounded healer. I think that's the root of it. Like you have these ways of wanting life or expecting life to be, and you keep scratching the surface with wanting it to align this way. I think the alignment, you try to like make that alignment happen, like in a very, as you said, insistent way. Like you just keep working towards it, at it. Okay, I'm going to do this to make this alignment happen. I know I'm not aligned from within, but what's happening is that in the process you're not letting life surprise you, or the movie of your life play out the way it's supposed to play out, because there is some resistance. I mean, I use the word insistent, which was wrong, but like you are resisting the openness, or the infinity of life in that manner. I feel like when you constantly think about how can I align myself, and because of that friction, you somewhere keep getting wounded. Actually, life wants you to heal. It's happening for you. So whatever it's doing, it's bringing to the surface to heal you. But instead, what you do, creating that resistance, that friction, the process you delay. Like
Agree. Yeah.
even though, I mean, in the absolute terms, there's no delay. It's all like, say for example, if you talk about topics of like determinism, that there's no free will and stuff like that, but like that ways, maybe there's no such thing as process delay, because time is
No, I understand what
not
you're saying,
an
and you've
illusion,
hit
right?
some really good points. I'm trying to remember all the things I want to say because it's happening
So
so fast.
fast.
First thing you said was insistence, resistance. Actually, I do use them synonymously. I know you said that they're different. I use them as the same word because that's what it
Okay.
does. It kind of like adds resistance. Second thing you said, the universe works in a way like a body's divine intelligence knows how to heal naturally. And that's the natural process, and anything you do will only like mess with it. Similarly, the universe is always showing you the path of least resistance if you know how to listen. And that's where
Mm.
synchronicity comes in.
And that's why
Because
your body also comes in, because it's
yeah,
just
exactly.
it's
It's the
just the
same thing.
coolest machine for it.
So basically, you have a internal compass, okay? I call it the anxiety and excitement compass. And what happens is that whenever we all have like a higher self, which is, I guess you could think of the oversoul, but it's like you, but in spirit, like greater spiritual part of you, which is guiding you.
Yeah.
So
I think
we'll,
oversoul and higher self would be slightly different, because higher
perhaps,
self
I think
would
I'll
still
just
be
use the
more
term higher
personal to
self.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So your higher self is constantly trying to guide you, and it's doing this through the feeling of excitement, because the physical body's way of intercepting that communication is through excitement. So whenever you feel excited for something, your only job is to do that activity in that moment and do it to the best you can, and then look for the next most exciting thing. And the reason for that is because that's how your body intercepts, what am I supposed to do next? Okay, now what am I supposed to do? Okay, now, and you keep doing those things, you're taking the path of least resistance to wherever you need to be. And so that's the second thing, right? Synchronicity is the organizing principle of reality, and it's essentially guiding you if you know how to follow it. What was the third thing? There was one more thing that you said that I forget. But there was
Insistence,
one.
resistance, timeline, delay.
Yes. So, what you're referring to is divine timing. But what I believe is that because time is not, it's not really, we experience it as linear, but it's not really existing in that form. It's kind of like, I guess, an illusion. So that nullifies the concept of divine timing, but instead it leaves you with a concept called divine energy, meaning that
Mm.
whenever you're ready to embody the state of the person that you want to be. I want to be, for example, I want to be a version of Sakshi who's like doing so and so well in the corporate world and is maybe making enough money to support her own family and take them on nice trips and everything. There's no timeline for this. But once I take the necessary actions to become or embody the state that Sakshi would be in to feel comfortable receiving those things, right? That's when I would get there. So it's an internal game. It's just an internal game. Do you understand? Like
Yeah, I
you
do. I do.
you have limiting beliefs. Those limiting beliefs are interfering with they're taking up space actually in your current reality and preventing those good things from coming in. So once you can make space for those nice things, they will come.
Yeah.
But it requires a lot of work. It requires you to truly believe that you deserve that you're worthy of that. And a lot of times, like I would say all of us actually, hold a lot of wounds around self-worth. All of us. And
Yeah.
it manifests in different areas, maybe career, love, and so on. But we all have some wound of, I don't deserve this, or I'm not worthy of this.
Hmm.
It just shows up differently, but it's there. So once we work on removing that, clearing that, and then rewriting it as something positive,
Hmm.
you know? And that's why scripting helps because when you're writing the same good thing about yourself and your life every single day, subconsciously at some point you'll start believing it. That's why it works.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
I feel like you really unpacked, unloaded like a lot of things, and kind of opened like Pandora's box for me because I genuinely feel like w- the subjects of psychology, the subject of um, yogic science, the subject, these two subjects, I think, is what are showing up for me right now with whatever you said, because the way that I'm thinking right now is my mind is creating parallels,
hmm,
and we can reflect upon parallel dimensions as well when we do that. But parallel dimensions, because see, like for me, the what you said was, following the excitement versus anxiety, right? Both of them are emotions and their energy in motion. And as you spoke of divine energy, it's sort of like you align with this particular emotion. I think that inner compass that you were talking about, I personally in my life feel it's emotion. Emotions are your inner compass. When you align yourself to, say, the hierarchy of, say, positive emotions like peace, joy, whatever, whatever, you are aligning your compass towards your North Star. And when you look, and it's not about positive or negative or saying that the negative emotions, the ones that make you feel at dis-ease, like, are not bad. But the thing is that what they will do is you will start looking at them differently, is what they would want you to do. Like, say, basically, if you are somebody whose compass is telling itself, because it knows, say, power of subconscious mind, or thinking positively or being an optimistic person is better for you to lead your life. But that ways, I feel like it's just a coping mechanism where you would be way too optimistic. I think it's a sugar coated optimism rather than, like, very humble optimism. So what you would do is you would try to be like a very joyful person, very peaceful person. But I feel like until and unless you've met your darkness, like your darker emotions, like jealousy, like you said, unworthiness, or all of those low confidence, all of that you feel completely, experiencing the positive emotions or the positive parts of the compass that actually guide you towards north will not be as accurate. So the idea would be to probably experience the density, the higher density emotions first, change the way you look at those higher density emotions, and then from there move your ship towards the positive ones, because that ways, even on the positive ones, you will have a very multi-dimensional, parallel dimensional, parallel reality dimensions, whatever you want to call it, kind of an outlook or a perspective to it. I think you would look at it from different angles, and I think that's what dimensions would mean. Like if I look at this thing, this cup at like this, it would look a particular way. If I look at it like this, it would look a particular way. So changing the angles or the lens of your inner eye, I think that's how it would be for me. And the second thing that's sort of showing up for me from the yogic science perspective and the psychological perspective was Maslow's hierarchy, self-actualization. So self-actualization would mean to be driven by the excitement. Uh, but somewhere also changing the outlook on anxiety, which is a very physiological lowest scale, lowest bit about the Maslow's hierarchy, that your anxiety is telling you something, how you are not in alignment with that excitement. Um,
Exactly. So let me stop you
so,
there before I
hmm,
forget what
what's
my
going
responses are, because then I'll forget. But firstly, excitement and anxiety are the same energy.
on?
They are not different. They're the same energy, but they are being passed through a filter.
Mm,
Anxiety, in spiritual terms, I guess, is excitement passing through the filter of a limiting belief. So
amazing.
naturally, like if some things hadn't happened in my life, I would be
Wait a
excited
second.
about.
Wait a second. Wait a second. I want to do this first. So you continue speaking. Yeah. Because I think this deserves a drum roll. Okay, now
That's really sweet
continue.
of you. And I mean, again, like I don't like to box emotions into positive, negative because I think that gives the wrong idea sometimes to like, or it communicates the wrong thing of like you shouldn't be feeling certain things and you only should be feeling. That's not the point.
Hmm.
The point is you will feel everything because you do not have control. Like you will all the feelings come up first, the thoughts come up first. All you can do is observe them. Maybe if you're like really good, if you're like a yogi level person, you can observe your thoughts, but you'll always feel everything. When you're talking about resistance and pain, you're in most cases, or at least in my case, I can only speak to my experience actually. The times when my life has been the most painful has been when I'm resisting it, when I'm not surrendering it, when I'm resisting every single thing in my life. That's when I feel the most pain. That's when I feel the most uneasy. That's when I feel the most frustrated, annoyed, and so on. When I'm trying to control all the outcomes all the time. When I'm not letting something take its course. And I'll give you an example of this. I won't go into details, but I'm currently like pursuing a PhD, and a couple of things have happened where I felt very out of control, and it made me question a lot of things. It strengthened a lot of my limiting beliefs about me deserving to be here and like so on and so forth. And these things had nothing to do with me. They were completely out of my control. It had more to do with like just the general things happening in the world. And so the first time, it happened twice basically. Two different things happened. The first time it happened, I was a wreck. I was literally crying and I was like, what am I supposed to do? It was a very tough experience for me. The second time it happened, I had a ball and things just sorted themselves out. So the first time I went through this, my experience was that I spent that whole time crying and worrying and being in so much pain and telling myself terrible stories about myself, about my worth and whether I deserve to be here. At the same time, I'm trying to fix it and it gets fixed. But I could have done all that without resisting any of it. I could have just, you know, and it's tough to do. That's why it keeps happening, right? It's really hard to just surrender because you want things to be in control. That's human nature. You want things to be going in a certain direction for you. But the second time, it just kind of sealed, again, that concept landed in my brain that if I surrender and I don't insist, I just do my work. I do what I'm supposed to do. I do it with full diligence and I leave the rest to whatever you believe in. The God, the universe, my own higher self, I don't know. But I leave it. And that's again like when you were talking about the yogic part of it, it just corresponds to karma yoga. That's all it is. All we've spoken about today has been karma yoga in a nutshell. So it all comes back to the same thing. Karma yoga is basically doing the task in front of you to the best ability that you can, and then forgetting about it. Just letting it go like a bird, releasing it. And karma yoga and dharma kind of tie into each other in a sense, I feel, because the flow state that comes with, I feel like flow state and dharma are synonymous in a way. When you're doing your dharma, you're in a flow state, and then you actually do the task in alignment with karma yoga because you're doing it for the sake of the task itself.
Wow.
Not for any possible merit that you could get or like anything else. So I think at the crux of everything we've spoken about so far, it's literally like
Yeah.
karma yoga is such a big central theme.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting way to look at it. Wow, amazing. This
My
is
brain
so
is
cool.
trying.
Like I said, it was like drum
Yeah.
roll worthy. Like I knew it was coming. Like so
Too
cool.
nice. You're too nice.
Oh wait, where was it from? I think everybody is just gonna hear me like be like this child version of myself who's like, wait, let me play a sound effect somewhere because
This is
I'm
really cool.
really
This feature is really cool, actually.
I'm exploring it. Thanks, Riverside. I will upload some cool ones for the second episode. But what I was actually trying to say was, in response to what you just said, was the bit about the yogic science, right? For me, when you think of when you think of those layers, how you say you have. Was it like five vayus or was it like five bodies? I think there were five bodies. Like, you have like a bliss body. And so, oh yeah, now I remember. So basically you have koshas, right? So Vigyana
I'm
mein
not well
kosha.
versed with any of this, so I'm just gonna
Okay.
listen to what you're saying.
So basically you have like koshas and there are like five koshas. Now I cannot recall all of them like word by word, but all I remember right now are two koshas that are coming up to my mind, which is Vijnanamay kosha and then there's Anandamay kosha. So Vijnanamay kosha is like your knowledge body and your Anandamay kosha would be your what do you call bliss body. So I feel like these sort of go hand in hand in a way where as you said, the knowledge body after a certain point of time, which is very say I mean, I might be wrong, but very raja yoga, like of way of practicing life, very like accumulating like a lot of knowledge, or gyan yoga also, like how you would say you would collect a lot of knowledge, and then what that would do is that your knowledge would anyways, because of your consciousness or because of your state of being or mind or whatever, or your past experiences, whatever you might have collected as sanskaras, would then sort of filter your life experience in a way through the knowledge, to probably make you experience the bliss state or not.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, when you are doing your path of say dharma yoga or karma yoga, or as I was saying, emotions being your inner compass, although you saw them as something which was freeing, like a spectrum of rainbow, right? That they come and go. But I feel like sometimes this knowledge body of ours, or this the karma is not really aligned with dharma because of the resistance that people's inner compass or emotions go haywire, like in a way of perception, like they're not able to perceive it in the way that it's more aligned towards least resistance philosophy. Because what happens is that people would, like, I can give my personal example of my personal life, that I wouldn't know what it meant to process my anger
Yeah.
because I was never taught that. Like I wouldn't know how to probably channelize it either. Which is what I felt like, as much as that strong emotion can ignite that fire or that flame in me of my digestive juices or of my passion or of my purpose, the anger, because it's very passionate as an emotion and as an energy. I also feel like it also destroys a lot. So, considering I was never taught to fully feel it as it comes and as it goes in a state of flow, there was so much resistance that it became into like this ball that I held in my gut. Or if people know me, I had like a surgery which was in relations to a tumor that I had. So I felt like it became that big ball of tumor somewhere that settled in my reproductive region, and messed up a lot with my identity because I did not know how to process it when it came and when it go. If I would have followed the path of least resistance by probably having the knowledge, and which is an alignment towards the bliss body, everything coming together in a way where, like, the ship is sailing in a direction with the sail, the wind, everything moving in a state of flow, moving towards this destination. I feel like it would have been so much more easier for me on my journey to have the kind of life that
Yeah.
I desired.
Yeah.
But because I was unaware of all of this knowledge that we just spoke of today, um, or probably taking the action towards it as well, because I think knowledge came to me way earlier in my life, but action did not.
Yes.
Karma yoga is something that I'm working with now. um, that it sort of didn't really manifest or actualize in my life.
Yes.
So what I want to complete with when I'm saying this is that I honestly and genuinely feel like the perception that you have towards emotions that you weren't taught of, be it dark, be it positive. Like, for some people, they don't know how to experience happiness and joy fully either, because they have a fear that it'll go away. They try to control it, but it actually just slips through your fingers like sand sometimes.
Yeah, so
uh,
everything we've
so
spoken
yeah.
about today is completely idealistic.
Yeah.
Completely. Because in reality, like, I don't think many of us can actually practice this 100% of the time. So
Mm.
when you're citing the example of someone who, you know, lives in a state of fear because they feel like maybe they've had an experience where they were abandoned and they want to hold on to the love, so maybe they will people please. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I know some people like that, and I know I used to be like this, and like we've spoken about it and stuff. And again, at the crux of it, there's a limiting belief, right? The limiting belief is telling
Mm.
you that you are not worthy of love, people leave.
Mm.
So at the crux of it, it's always your subconscious mind doing some bullshit. But it's easier said than done, like to do any of this. Like I personally struggle every single day. And that's why I practice so much because I want to make sure that I'm a good functional human being who's doing what she's supposed to do, which is do my PhD, but also like keep in touch with my friends, but also talk to my family every day, and also like think about my future and like, my relationship and so many different things. So like being functional in today's world takes a lot, and it would help if we knew the tools, but oftentimes we have to self-teach these tools to ourselves because our parents again teach us what they were taught, which maybe wasn't a lot in this area. Um, but yeah, like all of these talks today of like how you can change your life and stuff, it's very idealistic. It's what you ideally would want to do, but it's not as easy as it is to like talk about it. It's not easy to
Mm.
practice it. And like you really have to catch yourself in a lot of the times when maybe you are doing something that's self-sabotagey. When you're, for example, I spoke to a person in my school who was telling me that they want to apply for a PhD program. They're doing their masters. And I was like, where are you applying? And they were like, I'm applying to these schools. And I asked her, why aren't you applying to Stanford and stuff, like the West Coast? Those are all the schools for your major. She was like computer science. And she was like, oh no, I won't get in. So she was already rejecting herself, you know what I mean? And we all do this in different areas of our lives. We might not approach a person because we fear that they'll reject us first, even if it's a conversation, even if it's us wanting to ask for help. We might not ask for help because we feel like someone will reject us because of these stories we tell ourselves. So at the end of the day, our experienced reality is our experienced reality because our subconscious mind is running some stories which then influence our emotions, thoughts, beliefs, actions, and then experience reality. And then what we experience reinforces those stories.
That's the loop. That's the loop.
It's the
That's
loop.
why that's why I feel like in lived experience, honestly, uh, karma yoga is the most difficult. Like that ways.
The surrender
Because
is so difficult.
because your entire subconscious mind is affecting your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, um, all of it, right? Is existing. So your actions are going to be in alignment with all of that. So then it's almost like a conversation of ki anda pehle aaya ki murgi, did the egg come first, the hen?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
what should I start working on first? Should I start working on first on my subconscious mind, or should I start changing my actions? Or does it go hand in hand?
It goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I mean, that's again your perspective, but
Yes.
like say maybe for me it might not be the same, it might not work the same because of whatever XYZ reason, which
I
might be
think
an excuse or
it's
which
really
might not be an
important you
excuse.
believe that you can figure it out. I think is see, it's really hard to do sometimes, and it's you feel like easier to like import like from an external source, import your intuition, import, maybe ask psychics a lot of questions, like do a lot of tarot to ask questions about what's happening. I've done my fair share of this in the past. So like I think the number one thing if you really want to change your own life is to believe that you can. If you don't believe that you can do it, other dominoes may not fall into place because that's such a primal belief that I have the empowerment. I can change my life if I want to. I am empowered. That's the number one, I think, belief that a lot of us forget. And that's what maybe creates a lot of differences in how we perceive healing tools and whatnot. If that belief is not there, it might interfere with whether you can use a healing tool in a beneficial way or not.
Yeah, so I honestly feel like at the end of it, everything boils down to perception.
Yes.
Because you shift your perspective, and it's almost like shifting like your sail, you can change the direction. You shift your perspective, the way with which you look at things, even the emotion that you're feeling will also shift its
Yes.
intensity.
Yes.
So I mean, and then of course the aspect of even with your perspective shift would be your perspective on what surrender looks like for you, because even surrender in that form or your belief in yourself in that form and shape is again just the way you view things, the way you look at things. Now I don't know where this perception is originating from, in the sense that do you give the power of your perception away to things like, oh, this is coming from my past life, like this is coming from this place, this is coming from that place, because then again it's like the stories, like you're giving the power of the way with which you look at things to some story of some past life, or to um, probably some akashic record or whatever. So then for me you are limiting yourself as a creator, because the creation lies in the preservation also lies, and the destruction also lies. All three aspects of the Vishnu, the Brahma, and the Mahesh all lie in perspective. Because see, if you think about it, all three have their own Purans, right? Some believe in some believe in some. Tools again, what aligns with your life. Use that.
Everything is a permission slip. Everything is a
Yeah.
every single thing.
Permission slip.
Crystals or whether it's tarot or it's, but that's the point. Like it doesn't matter because nothing has inherent meaning. It's about what you choose to assign meaning to something and then use that in
Yeah.
a way to get to know yourself at a deeper level. So it does not matter. Like you can
Yeah.
see, I'll tell you what, you can either sit, you want to ride a cycle. You can sit in the corner, stare at the cycle, and study all the angles of the cycle and, like, what material is it and stuff. Or you can just ride it and fall a few times, but then you'll know how to ride a cycle. So,
Yeah.
theorizing is great and it's awesome, but to an extent, I think just live life. Feel all the emotions.
Yeah.
If something excites you, don't ignore that. If there's one thing I can leave people with is like, follow your excitement. Because that's the universe or the higher self or your ancestors, whatever, they're talking to you through this feeling to tell you, do this, follow
Yeah.
this, do this, then do that, then do this, and slowly you will get to where you need to be. It's
Yeah.
guidance. Excitement is guidance, and anxiety always tells you something about like where you're holding some maybe belief, and your body's reacting in that way because it's like, what story am I telling myself about me not deserving something or me like I had for the longest time I had this fear of speaking in public. And the reason, like, eventually it took me a while to kind of understand what story I'm telling myself, and it always boiled down to rejection. Always. My biggest fear was that if I start sharing something with an audience, they will reject me. And so I gave up opportunities. I would avoid speaking in front of people until I dealt with that fear and limiting belief. I would get such crazy anxiety. Like, if I
And we're
was,
here today.
yeah, this, it's you, Dinema.
Ah, no.
It's
Oh,
Dollywood.
no.
So, yeah, so it's like,
You did just say
tackle.
my nickname.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't shared this with people?
No.
Oh,
But okay. I mean, yeah, my nickname is Dolu, guys.
Dollu. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was saying was to wrap this conversation up also, were two things. That one thing is, when it comes to being the creator of your life, um, it needs to be in alignment with freedom. Freedom of choice, freedom of, like you were saying, how you want to look at things, freedom of, oh, this belief works for me, this doesn't work for me, oh, this emotion works for me, doesn't work for me.
Yes.
But in alignment to what? Freedom. Like freedom, what makes me feel free? Again, it's an emotion.
Hmm.
So what perspectives would align with it the most, and that's how you paint your, probably, painting. And as you were rightly saying, that for the mango people that we are, it's about lived experience at the end of the day, because in that living is where you will feel or identify the belief, blah blah blah, whatever,
Yeah.
all the idealistic things that we spoke of. And that's how it's just a process of you figuring it out with trials and errors and knowing and not knowing. And it's all like a big khichdi, I feel like sometimes, जिसमें तीन तरीके की दालें डली हुई हैं, like three pulses inside of it, and you're just figuring it out, which one is which, you know,
Hmm.
like which
But
which
that's the
dal is
point.
which.
The metaphor I would add to end that is that instead of figuring out which one is which, and just eat the
Just eat
dal.
it.
Yeah,
Ah,
that's
yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, just eat it, enjoy it, and yeah. And the second thing to end was that I wanted to show people my vision board, of
Yeah.
course, because I create it very differently. Like, as I was saying, I want life to surprise me. I want my life to be like a Sherlock Holmes movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love being Nancy Drew and Sherlock. So, like, this is my vision board, okay?
Oh, that's so cool. It
So
looks like
basically,
an explosion. It's so cool.
it looks like an explosion, and there's nothing definitive here. It's all
That's what
stickers,
I love.
and it's all paths leading to this center
Is that
thing.
a mushroom?
Yeah. So it's all symbolic things. So
Okay.
there's this book that I'm really inspired by called Man and His Symbols by Carl Jung. And another thing was Da Vinci Code, like everything being coded.
Oh.
So I love how my entire life is like coded into like these frequencies, or I don't know, messages, whatever it may be. But this is my vision board, and what I was trying to tell people was that everything is leading down to this single point where
Hmm.
this single heart is, right?
Right.
It's all going over here. And they're like, I don't know if these paths, the singular paths, they're all parallelly running or they will run one at
Ah.
a time. I don't know. But
Right.
the coolest thing is that ever since I made this, in the last 2 days, I noticed two symbols, the exact same symbols in my reality. So I'll tell you.
That's
You
yeah.
see how there's like this pomegranate over here
Yeah.
below, like the sale
Yeah, I
price.
see it.
So day before yesterday, I went to my best friend's house, and in his kitchen, where he was making me coffee, hung like this beautiful pomegranate, looking exactly like this, with red jewels, only right in front of my eyes and lived experience. And I was like, bro, this is so cool. Like I saw my first symbol out of the what do you call, my vision board that I made. And yesterday I was wearing ladybug earrings,
Uh-huh.
and before that, the day before that, I was wearing like cherry earrings,
Yeah.
which had just gotten delivered the day after I made my vision board.
Oh, that's so cool. So you
So
ordered it before.
yeah,
That's
so
cool.
it started with these two, and then it moved on to this.
Very cool.
So for me, it's like it's running like parallelly
Ah.
now, like all these parts, and there's
What is
no.
your background? How did you make that pink thing? It looks so cool.
It's basically a paintbrush and
Ah,
watercolors.
because it's like a gradient. It looks really nice.
Yeah, and in the center it says no filter, only feels, and it says important meeting
Hmm.
at the center. So I don't know what that means. But as I said, it's all symbolic. I want life to surprise me.
Yes.
And on top of the heart, it reads, be kind. So I think
That's
it's all at
lovely.
the end of the day leading towards kindness, towards my own heart, maybe. Um, I mean, that's the meaning I'm giving it now.
Yeah,
Who
and that's
knows
all
what
that
it might
matters. The
be?
meaning you give matters. That's it.
Yeah, amazing. Let's end this podcast with this, probably this quote that says, meaning matters, not mind matters.
Hmm.
Yeah. Mind the matter.
Oh,
Mind the matter of the meaning that you give to your matter.
I love it.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being here, having this conversation with me today, Sakshi. I think everybody is going to enjoy it so much. I think they're going to be confused also in between, because we
I
spoke
think
of
they'll be
so
more
many things.
confused than anything else because of how quick, like how, yeah, we've touched like so many things and so superficially sometimes that they'll just be like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
But that's just us. That's just us.
But as long as like someone feels like they have one new thing that they can Google and like learn more about, that's all that really
That
matters,
that matters.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that matters.
Yeah.
That's the meaning we're giving to it. Oh my
Yeah.
God. It's become like a loop now. But yes, thank you so much for listening, everybody, whoever is listening. I'm really, really glad that you showed up for the second season, first episode with Sakshi Tewari. Let me put the clap now.
I think it's too loud in here. I'll just like, yeah. Thank you so much for having me. You know, I love chatting with you about these things all the time.
Yeah.
So.
So bye, guys. See you next time.